sawa ang mga pangako.
It's a real, genuine, legitimate people's action. That was stopped by force. Yun yung tingin ko sa EDSA
Mga
kasi.
pangakong laging napapako sa pagtitiwala ay pumapatay. Nakakapagod din ang umasa, lalo't ang bituka ay walang laman. Napakailap sa mahirap ang hustisya, lalo't bansa ay hawak lang ng
Nung nangyari yung EDSA 1, ang umiiral na sistema ron was an authoritarian regime. So, wala kang ibang panlaban doon kundi people's power. Pero nung nangyari yung EDSA 2, binubuo na natin yung bagong demokrasya. Merong eleksyon, and people who were in position there were duly elected with President Estrada was elected with great majority, malaking majority. Tapos may impeachment procedure at sinusubukan natin ng patibayin yung rule of law. Pero na-violate yan ng EDSA 2. So, yun ang isang pagkakaiba yun, yung context ng dalawang nangyari. Ito, nilalabanan yung authoritarian regime. Ito naman, democratic system, na meron namang sistema talaga ng pagpapalit ng gobyerno, yung tinatawag na People's Initiative. Hindi naman yun na nasunod. Ang nangyari, naging people's mobilization.
Nag-people power 1, nag-people power 2.
Noong panahon ng EDSA 1, ako ay nasa loob ng detention sa Port Bonifacio. Katakataka doon sa nangyari sa amin because we were detained sa Bago Bantay for many years. Mga 1 month before nangyari yung EDSA 1, nilipat kami sa Bonifacio bigla. Wala silang maibigay na explanation sa amin. It turned out later on na meron na pala silang intelligence report and they wanted to use Bago Bantay as a major detention center doon sa mga mahuhuli doon sa airport na involved sa EDSA 1. It's really a surprising event in the sense na nobody could have predicted na ganun kabilis yung pagdami ng tao. And of course, we were also surprised to see the participation of the military. Ang tingin namin doon, it was really an expression of the people's discontent on the system na under the rule of Marcos for so many years. And when we were given a democratic way of resolving that question, which was the election, snap elections versus Cory Aquino, ay dinaya pa yung result ng election. Kaya act of last recourse for the people.
Ngunit hindi pa rin tayo.
Sabi nga namin, yung gobyerno ni Cory could lead towards popular democracy, but it could also lead towards elite democracy. Kasi hindi naman social revolution yung nangyari. It was just a change of government, not through people's power. So nagtayo kami ng volunteers for popular democracy. At yung objective namin doon, two-pronged. Yung isa, maghanap ng mga volunteers na talagang sincerely want to help the government in any capacity. Yung iba papasok sa gobyerno, yung iba advisors, yung iba volunteers. And we were able to organize mga 20 task forces to help different agencies of the government. Yung isang grupo naman ay pagpapalakas ng mga people's organizations at saka mga citizens movements at pagpapalinaw ng kanilang mga advocacy and enter into dialogue with the government para palakasin yung programa ng gobyerno. One of the major efforts that we concentrated on was the organization of the SIPAR, yung Congress for People's Agrarian Reform. Hanggang sa nakapagbuo kami ng isang malinaw na programa para sa agrarian reform. And yung naging history nga niyan, sinadmit namin yan kay President Aquino. Tinanggap naman niya yung initial proposal, but later on, nung pinag-aralan ng kanyang mga nasa staff, they took a long time and then waited for Congress to be organized. Siyempre, pagdating ng Kongreso, yung interest ng mga congressmen, nangibabaw na doon sa programa. Kaya ang dami nang nawala doon sa original na programa na binuo namin. So, parang makikita mo doon na sana yung nabuo na ng mga people's initiatives at saka yung mga iba't ibang proposals natin towards a more meaningful change in terms of program and policies. Kung nagawa lang kaagad ni President Aquino before she organized Congress, ang dami sanang na-achieve. Yeah, then revolutionary government, revolutionary constitution, so pwedeng radical programs. I-adapt na kaagad. Hindi nagkaroon nga ng time na dili-dali. So itong mga vested interest nakapasok ulit. So nagkaroon ng process ng pagbubuo noong bagong konstitusyon. At doon marami na namang nawala doon sa bagong konstitusyon kasi by the time the Constitutional Convention was organized, all the lobbying and advocacy of the other groups came into the formulation of the Constitution. So, yung possibility ng radical change na wala. So, parang yung sinasabi naming struggle between elite democracy and popular democracy, in the end, natalo yung popular democracy. Bumalik tayo sa elite democracy.
Nag-people power one, nag-people power two.
EDSA 2, I was in the cabinet of President Estrada at involved ako doon sa mga programs na agrarian reform. And of course, at that time, yung kami mga nasa cabinet ni President Estrada were of course very concerned with what was happening. And there was this strong mga statements from different sectors. At tinatanong kami, mga kabinete, kayo, yan, cowboy, you were once a reformist. What are you still doing there? Mga ganun. Ang main position namin noon is meron na kasing tumatakbong impeachment process. So, antayin natin kung ano mangyari sa impeachment. Pagka na-prove na talagang may basis to impeach sa President Erap at nag-decision na impeach siya, di kami naman lahat will support that constitutional decision. Pero yung nga, hindi naman natuloy yung impeachment, nagkaroon ng EDSA 2 at napilitang umalis si President Estrada. But the decisive factor sa EDSA 2 is a military action eh. Hindi naman people power talaga yun eh. Kung wala yung military action, hindi naman magbabago yung regime.
Kahit nag-EDSA 3, kahit mag-EDSA 4.
Nagsimula niyan mga ERAP followers eh, no? Dahil doon sa treatment doon sa pagkakahuli at pagkakakulong kay President Estrada. Kami, kaibigan ng mga nasa EDSA 3. Ang EDSA 3 kasi, karamihan dyan yung mga urban poor communities, no? And yung talagang nasaktan doon sa nangyari kay President Estrada. But later on, this was supported by other sectors. And I think, na yung ilang religious groups like INK, El Shaddai, talagang sumuporta na rin sila doon sa demand ng tao na bigyan ng justice. That was a very strong expression of people's protest. At ang tingin ko naman doon, hindi naman yun talaga pagkilos para magpalit ng gobyerno. Hindi, wala naman silang demand na pababain si Gloria. No? Ang demand lang na bigyan ng hustisya si Erap. Yeah. Tapos, at bigyan ng hustisya yung mga ibang tao. Ganun yung panawagan ng EDSA 3. Sabi na, mga mababahong tao yan, yung mga mahihirap yan. At walang mayayaman na sasali dyan. So, lumalim yung division between the poor and the rich. To me, yung significance ng EDSA 3 ay kung talagang itong mga mas mahihirap sa ating lipunan ay kumilos, they can really do a lot. They can do a lot in terms of changing regimes. And they can also do a lot in rebuilding government.
Kahit nag-EDSA 3, kahit mag-EDSA 4.
Meron namang ibang recourse, tsaka nandiyan yung democratic process, at tsaka depende rin sa mga issues, no? Na pwede pa nating masundan yung mga sistema ng ating pagbabago ng gobyerno, halimbawa, o kaya paglalahad ng mga grievances. Then I think ang role nitong people's action is still there but in a more limited way. But itong paggamit ng military in the service of the interest of a few. Yun ang masamang aspeto niyan. May mga kondisyon kung bakit umabot sa EDSA 1, no? Yung nga, wala nang recourse yung mga tao, talagang wala nang rule of law. Then, I think, aabot sa punto na talagang justified yung people's actions. Kaya depende sa kondisyon. Kung umabot sa ganung punto, ay sa akin, I will support that action.
Buhay natin di pa rin magbabago. Kahit mag-people power, tayo ang talo. Hanggat hindi tayo natututo.